Anyway, so this is, I am not a small entity. That's a process. So this is called aparoksha jnana. In Vidyaranya somehow says that this aparoksha jnanam, even if you gain, but still you don't have jnana phalam. Means Brahman is free, so you should have that you should feel that you are free. There should be a freedom in terms of time, place, and objectivity center on the self. That's moksha. That is the self. But anyway, this even if this jnana phalam is not there, even though you have a aparoksha jnanam through shravanam and mananam, shravanam mananam cannot never gives a paroksha jnana. If you feel that Brahman is jagat karanam, Brahman is jagat karanam, Brahman is jagat karanam, Brahman is atma, that atma also, that word never, if it does not give, it does not click you in the form of an I. It remains atma as a atma. I think shravanam has to be done. Nothing, we should forget every other thing and focus on shravanam. Shravanam should give you the knowledge that I am free. But yet, even if it gives knowledge, if you don't enjoy the freedom, then Vidyaranya says, I have something to talk to you now from verse number 97 to 134. So that's what he is going to talk about, that certain obstacles are there. Means if the light is on and yet darkness from the room does not go away, definitely there is an obstacle around that light. Because light is not on and then darkness will not go. That's another thing. But light is on and yet darkness does not go. Then definitely there is some obstacle around the light. And therefore, same way here also, the light is on from Shravanam and Mananam. Switch is on now in the mind. But yet the darkness has not gone. Means still you consider yourself as a small entity, bound entity, dependent upon thousands of things. And you all the time feel the helplessness. This feeling of helplessness goes away, center on the self. This is all moksha. In one or other way we can discuss. So this, if it does not go away like this, I mean the helplessness does not go away, means you don't have, the darkness does not go away, then definitely there are obstacles around that knowledge which has been generated, aparoksha jnana, which has been generated by Shravanam and Mananam. Those are that is the topic. What are the obstacles, etc. And so he's starting that particular topic. How this adrida jnanam, he has used this word, adrida jnanam, sapratibandhaka aparoksha jnanam or adrida jnanam. Dridam means a firm knowledge that yes, I am free. So that adrida jnanam has to be converted to drida jnanam, or sapratibandhaka aparoksha jnanam should be converted into apratibandhaka aparoksha jnanam. So aparoksha jnanam is of two types as per his description, with a pratibandha and without pratibandha. And aparoksha jnanam is that light is on. Yeah, that is. If light is not on, then shravanam has to be done. You have to switch on the light. That switching on the light, it is a shravanam. But the light is on, means you have a knowledge, and yet you don't have a phalam of the knowledge. Well, you are not able to claim very confidently that yes, I am free. And this all belongs to so-called problem in spite of all the problems. Problems will not go away. Centered on ahankara, all problems will be there because ahankara definitely has to face prarabdha. There is no way out. Ahankara is generated because of the identification with the body, mind, sense complex, which is a product of a prarabdha. And therefore ahankara also he has to face prarabdha, depending upon the body he has got or she has got. Well, and therefore, at the level of ahankara, problems will not go. And therefore, in spite of the problems, I am free. That is knowledge. Not problems will go away. Never. It will not go away. And it has not gone away. If you see any Jnani's life, problems were there, including all the diseases and everything. And even surrounding also. And so therefore, definitely, ahankara, at the level of ahankara, the problems are there. And in spite of all these problems, I am free because I am not ahankara. I am the very adhishthanam of the ahankara, etc. So anyway, so this is, then this pratibandha has gone, we call it as a drida jnana. So that is what we discussed also in verse 97. That Mahavakyat aparoksha bodha astu tathapi na dridaha bhavati. Mahavakyat aparoksha bodha astu. Mahavakya Shravanam is called Shravanam. So listening the Mahavakya itself from the teacher's mouth, right, based on Upanishad, of course. Well, aparoksha bodha hastu, let it be so. Tathapi na dhradaha bhavati. Still, that aparoksha jnanam is not dhradam, adhradam, it is adhradam. Then what is to be done? Acharyahi shravanadinam punaha iranat. Then Acharya says, iranat, kathanat. Acharyas have told that, well, shravanadinam punah punah. Shravana mananam nididhyasanam has to be done again and again. Why Shravana mananam nididhyasanam? You are talking about pratibandha. Yeah, there are certain pratibandhas, well, which will go by Shravanam. Then there are another level of pratibandhas which will go by mananam, and another group of pratibandhas are there which will go by nididhyasanam. So Shravanadinam, Adipadat we have to take mananam and nididhyasanam. So they will remove this, all the pratibandhas. And so aparoksha jnanam basically generated from Shravanam and Mananam will ultimately becomes Dhrida jnanam or becomes free from obstacles. Now then you will have a question, then you say by Shravanam pratibandha goes, and then you say Shravanam gives aparoksha jnana. What is this? Well, so initial Shravanam definitely generates a knowledge. Later Shravanam removes pratibandha. Yeah, that's the thing. And a group of pratibandhas, which that also we discussed, but we'll be seeing again. Anyway, then in verse 98, Vakyavritti, verse 49 has been quoted, bodily lifted and quoted by Vidyaranya in verse 98. Shravanadikam abhyaset. So Vakyavritti Acharya said, well, Shravanadikam. So Shravana, Adi means, this I told you, Mananam Nidhyasanam, has to be, abhyaset means it have to be repeated again. Again and again it has to be done. We have to do this Shravanam, Mananam and Nidhyasanam again and again, which will remove pratibandhas. So that is how for sannyasis they say asuptehe amrutehe kalam nayet vedanta chintaya. Asuptehe amrutehe. Till you go to the bed in a day, and amrutehe, like that, till you leave this body, till then Vedanta Chintanam, Vedanta Chintaya Kalam Nayet, spend your time in Vedanta Chintanam. That itself indicates that this is to be done again and again. Shravanam Mananam has to be done. Very clear that later Shravanams, we call advanced Shravanam. Later Shravanam, will definitely remove the obstacle. Initial Shravanam and Mananam will generate aparoksha jnana. Later Shravanam, Mananam, etc. will remove obstacles. And how to carry out this Shravana Mananam, etc. Shamadhi Sahitam. So, pay attention to Sadhan Chatushte Sampatti. If Sadhan Chatushte Sampatti, it weakens, then Jnanam does not, when Jnanam also will weaken. And therefore, maintain the Sadhan Chatushte Sampatti. Yavat Bodha Dhradi Bhavet. Until this Bodha, Aparoksha Jnanam, becomes natural. Dhradi Bhavet means it becomes natural for you that you take, that you whenever you think of yourself, you say, I am Brahman, I am free. And so this is called Brahmi Sthiti by Bhagavan in second chapter. Moksha or Brahmanishtha, whatever you say. And then what are the obstacles now? Then that obstacles have to be narrated first. Then we'll discuss what type of obstacles go by Shravanam, what type of obstacles go by Mananam. So first, they have to be enlisted. Obstacles have to be enlisted. So in verse 98, which we have already seen, obstacles have been narrated. The first obstacle is what? Shruti Anekata. The obstacles which come while Shravanam itself, certain obstacle arise, and that obstacle is based on different types of Vedic statements. So then we get a doubt. Shruti Anekata. Shruti Anekata means basically one Vedic statement says, the Jiva is Amsha of Paramatma. Others says it's Jiva and Paramatma are two different entities. And third statement says, Jiva is, actually there is no Jiva at all. Jiva is Mithya. Jiva is Brahman. That's a reality. Due to ignorance, Jiva takes himself to, the Brahman takes himself to be the Jiva. And therefore, Jiva and Brahman are totally identical entity. There is so, and then what is What is the purport of the Shastra? Whether Jiva and Brahman are identical, where Jiva is a part of Brahman, or Jiva and Brahman or Paramatma are totally a separate entity? What is we don't understand, because in Shruti we find all types of statements. And therefore, and I quoted also that Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Antaryami, Brahmana, etc. will discuss that Jiva is controlled by the Antaryami. Antaryami means Ishvara. Antassan yamayati iti Antaryami. So through Maya he controls the entire world. That's a Upadhi. Brahman doesn't control anything. Brahman when becomes a Ishvara, well, so with his Maya Upadhi, he becomes Sarvagnya, Sarvashaktiman, etc. He is Antaryami of everything. So he controls everything. And therefore Jiva and Ishvara seems to be different. Because Ishvara is a controller and Jiva is controlled. And therefore Antaryami Brahmana in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad discuss Jiva and Ishvara are two entirely different things. Controller and controlled cannot be one. And yet elsewhere in Mundaka Upanishad says, well, this, Dvasuparna Sayuja Sakhaya Samanam Vruksham Parishasva Jate. Bhagavan says in 15th chapter, Jiva is basically Amsha of me alone, Paramatma alone. So what is this? What are the things? And if the statements are there, that's one thing. But then based on such statements, different philosophies have come out. Vishishtadvaitin take support of those Shruti statements where Jiva is taken as a Amsha of a Brahman. And Madhvacharya, etc., well, Vishishtadvaitin, Ramanujacharya. Madhvacharya, etc., takes a statement where Jiva and Ishvara are shown entirely differently. They will be happy and distribute the sweets when they come to Antaryami Brahmana, when Ishvara is a controller and Jiva is controlled. And therefore, they have established Dvaita Darshanam based on Upanishad. Ramanujacharya has established Vishishtadvaita Darshanam based on Upanishad. And Shankaracharya established Advaita Darshanam based on Upanishad. So what is this Upanishad? What is the purport of the Upanishad? We don't understand. Shruti Anekata. What is Shruti seems to be have a purport in different types of darshanam or what? So this is this kind of a doubt. So when you start listening and gain jnanam, then these doubts will come. And then definitely, and books, oh my God, Ramanujacharya, it's not that just Ramanujacharya wrote in few lines about this Vishishtadvaita Darshanam. They have a commentaries and commentaries, sub-commentaries and sub-commentaries and thousands of books. Just based on Upanishad, that Veda talks about that Jiva is Amsha of a Paramatma, etc. And same Madhvacharya, etc. They also, Dvaita Sampradaya has thousands and thousands of books. And we also have thousands of books. Anyway, so that is what is the purport? Shruti Anekata is an obstacle. Shruti has a different types of purports. It doesn't look like Shruti just talks about Jiva and Paramatma. Jivatma and Paramatma are one alone. And therefore, that is generated in Shravanam. Doesn't go. Then definitely it's an obstacle for a Dhrada Aparoksha Jnanam. We call it as an internal contradiction. In the Upanishad itself, one Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad says like this, and other Antaryami Brahmana in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says something different, and some other Upanishad says something different. It's an internal contradiction between the Upanishads. We are not able to arrive at the purport of the Upanishad. So many seemingly contradictory statements are there. That's one type of obstacle. And then second type of obstacle, Vidyaranya says in this verse 99 itself, Arthasya asambhavitvam. Arthasya, prameya asambhava. Artha means an object, but here Brahman, asambhavitvam. So even though I have clearly understood that Upanishad teaches only Advaitam, but I have a new doubt now. I see contradiction between Upanishad and Pratyaksham. Previously it was internal contradiction. Now it is an external contradiction. What is external contradiction? Advaitam alone is there, but Pratyaksha says Dvaitam alone is there. So now external. External means Shruti talks about, Advaitam. That's fine. But now you take another pramana, another means of knowledge called Pratyaksha. Well, then you find, it's entirely different. So let Upanishad talks about Advaitam, but Pratyaksha talks about Dvaitam. And both of them are primary source of knowledge. We call it as a Upajivya Pramana. So others are secondary. Upajivya means primary, principal, primary means of knowledge. So Pratyaksha and Veda, Shastra, both are primary means of knowledge and both reveal different things. So generally we use Pratyaksha and so because it is available to us. And so accepting Advaita is almost impossible. That's how many people, even they find a convincing this Advaita Darshanam, they don't really approach. If people write even PhD thesis, oh, so many here in Ahmedabad itself on Advaita Darshanam, so many, hundreds and hundreds of PhD theses are there. But the same person is not convinced by Advaita. One who writes a PhD thesis and still he is not convinced of Advaita. Because Pratyaksha reveals Dvaitam, very simple. This reveals form and color. This reveals sound. Sound and color are not one thing. That's it. So natural. So, but that is true that Indriya does not say there is Dvaitam. Ultimately, the decision takes place in the Buddhi. But they reveal different things. So, this reveals, form and color. This reveals sound. This reveals touch. Well, all are different. Shabda is not Sparsha. Sparsha is not a Rupa. Well, so Buddhi immediately decides that there is Dvaitam. Dvaitam alone is Satyam. Anyway, so how will you remove it? By Mananam. So these are, well, when there is an external contradiction, in which contradiction with respect to the different means of knowledge revealing different things. First is the internal contradiction. Between Upanishads, you don't find a concurrence. Conciliation has to be done. Reconciliation has to be done. Anyway, and so this is a second, that goes by Shravanam. We'll discuss that. And this is external contradiction between the two different means of knowledge, between two primary means of knowledge. There is a difference. If it is secondary means of knowledge, we will negate it immediately. But this is a primary means of knowledge, Pratyaksha, and which we call it as a Paurusha Pramana, and the Shruti is a Paurusha Pramana. And this kind of discussion will be there always between Vedikas. Yeah, we are not bringing here basically, Buddhist, etc. They will say we don't accept Pramana at all. Your Veda we don't accept at all. Then there is no question of discussing. But between Vedikas, who accepts Veda as a Pramana, then Veda reveals Advaitam and Pratyaksha reveals, that is Apaurusha Pramana, because it has come out of the Ishvara, therefore Apaurusha. Paurusha Pramana means Purusha Buddhi Upalabdha. So with the Purusha, with the person has this Pratyaksha as a means of knowledge. That reveals Dvaita. So anyway, Mananam will resolve that. This we'll discuss. Third is Vipirita Acha Bhavana. Third type of obstacle. Habitual misconceptions. Well, regarding myself and the world. Any habit, it's very difficult to go. And therefore, even if external contradiction is resolved, okay, well, I accept that in spite of a Pratyaksha reveals a Dvaita, well, Advaita alone is the truth, finally, ultimately. By examples, so many examples are there. We say that things, because you see the things differently, does not mean they are different. And we give so many examples. And so ultimately, suppose by Mananam, by logic, you remove, yes, that Dvaita is there at the level of Vyavahara, at the level of experience, but well, ultimately, there is only one thing which manifests into this various forms, etc. So Advaitam alone is reality, that is fine. And so that you resolve. So internal contradiction has gone. Upanishad talks about Advaitam. Then this external contradiction has gone. Even though different pramanas reveal different things, but ultimately Advaitam alone is a reality, etc., etc. That has gone. Then, but this third type of obstacle, in spite of Advaitam is a reality. If Advaitam is a reality, well, there is no Dvaitam. If there is no Dvaitam, means I alone is there. If I and you two are there, well, Dvaitam comes. So Advaitam is reality, means I alone is reality. I alone is the truth of everything. And therefore I am Brahman. Anyway, so I am all pervading. I am limitless. Something limits me if there is something else. In reality, there is something else is there other than me. then that limits me. But Advaitam means no. Ekameva Advaitam means what? Basically, there is no second entity. There is no second entity. Experientially, there are thousands of things, but in reality, there is only one entity, one reality, and that is I. Consciousness alone is a reality which is existent, which is limitless, and therefore, ultimately, you are convinced every way by Shravanam Mananam. Aparoksha Jnanam has been generated. Yeah, that I am Brahman. But still, in a Vyavara, again and again, and especially when you confront a Vyavara, when you experience the world, again I am a small entity comes, not I am a big limitless entity comes. Never it comes. And therefore there is a habit. That habit itself is obstacle. That is called Viparita Bhavana. Habitually you take again and again as a body, mind, sense complex, take someone else as a different from you, and world always invoke from you ahankara. We'll discuss that. And therefore, so this third obstacle is not easy to go. I mean, so because of it is a habit. So Nididhyasanam is for Pratibandha Nivritti. And Vidyaranya explains now each one, Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam, elaborately from verse number 100. We read that 100, verse number 100. So, it says here that we get a doubt regarding a Upanishadic statement. Shravanam removes we have seen, right? Shravanam removes the internal contradiction. So, he talks about Shravanam now. So, we get doubt regarding Upanishad statement because in Karmakanda, what happens is different branch of the Vedas, teach different karmas. Like same Agnihotra ritual, when appears in a different branch, becomes a different karma for a different adhikari. I'll tell you, one person asked this question. Agnihotra is a sakama karma or Agnihotra is a nishkama karma, nitya karma? Because you said Grihastha should do Agnihotra daily. And being a nitya karma, it should not give, it does not give any phalam. Or you should not expect any phalam because it is a nitya karma you are supposed to do. Karyameva tat. So you are supposed to do, and therefore you can't expect any phalam out of that. And therefore Agnihotra karma is a nitya karma. Then why do you say that one who wants a swarga should perform Agnihotra? And there is a statement, it's correct. Agnihotra, swarga kamaha Agnihotram juhuyat. Swarga kamaha, one who desires swarga should perform Agnihotra. You say Agnihotra is a nitya karma. And on the other hand, Vedanta, that also is discussed by Veda only. What are the nitya karmas of a Grihastha? Agnihotra, Sandhya Vandanam, etc. And Agnihotra also. Anyway, nowadays no Agnihotri is there. There in India, there are some, they say they have counted somehow that there are 80 Agnihotris in the entire such population. 80. Who are Nitya Agnihotri. Nitya Agnihotri means you can understand. Daily they are doing Agnihotra karma. Even if they go from Chennai to Kashi, suppose, they don't go in a train. Because in train you can't do Agnihotra, right? Therefore, immediately you will be arrested. You can't even light up. They say smoking should not be done. There is question of Agnihotra. And therefore, they go by some vehicle. And whenever a particular time comes, they stop the vehicle and they bring out all these things and they do Agnihotra, take a bath somewhere nearby, and then they do Agnihotra, and then again, and then they go further. So like that, there are some 80 Agnihotris are there who are doing Grihasthas, who are doing Agnihotra karma as a daily ritual. Why they are doing? Because it is to be done. Veda said, no phalam. So this is one type of adhikari. Other has an interest in a swarga. So he found in the Veda, he said, he found that if I want a swarga, then Agnihotra has to be done. Agnihotra becomes sakama karma. So Agnihotra is a nitya karma or a sakama karma? So question was there. Well, answer is here. That one and the same karma in a different branch becomes a different type of karma for a different type of adhikari. And therefore, the person who is mature and who wants, who are doing nitya naimitya karma because they are supposed to be done, which will bring definitely a chitta shuddhi, performing because the Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means basically you should do sattvic karmas, which will enhance sattva in the mind. If I want to enhance sattva in the mind, kama should not be there. Kama means a rajoguna. And when kama is not fulfilled, krodha, etc. arises, tamoguna will also ultimately arise. So if I want to enhance sattva because I want a knowledge, sattvat sanjayate jnanam, and therefore I should do karmas without expecting any other result. I should do because I am supposed to do. It's like a Panchamahayajna. And therefore, so these are a different type of adhikari who wants moksha, of course. But he is not interested in any other thing. Little mature person. For them, same Agnihotra, he becomes a Nitya Karma. And in a different branch of the Veda, Veda has 1180 branches. Now, only some 12 branches are there, 12 or to 15 branches available. All other branches have gone. Because the branches were there, different knowledge of the branches and the the chanting and etc., all these Veda mantras were there with the person, right? And the person has gone, because Prarabdha is over and he has not taught to someone. Therefore, the Shakha also has gone. Therefore, now 12 to 15 branches of the entire, all four Vedas are there. And then, this our Sama Vedas, Kauthumi and Tavalkara, etc., Shakha, etc. are there. Kenopanishad belongs to Tavalkara. And so like that, few. Our Krishna Yajurveda has two branches which we know very well. Katha Shakha, in which Kathopanishad is there. And Taitire Shakha, in which Taitire Upanishad is there. Shukla Yajurveda, well, you will find this, in a Vajasaneya. Well, you will find this Brihadaranyaka. So like that, few branches are there. 12 to 15 branches are there now. Out of 1150, all have gone. 1180. Anyway, so as Shakha changes, well, karma also changes. Same in one and the same karma becomes a different type of karma. And therefore, certain karmas, and so this kind of a thing is there. So certain karmas are utilized for different purpose depending upon the karma of the person. Suppose a person performs some ritual, let us say for particular benefit. They give another example. Well, Veda says same karma can be done by changing ahuti. First I gave you an example of a particular karma. Same karma becomes a sakama karma. Nitya karma becomes a sakama karma. That example I gave you. Now I am giving you another example in which that karma is a sakama karma only. But if you change the material of ahuti, well, it becomes you will gain a different type of result. It is a sakama karma, but you can fulfill some other desire. So, dadna indriya kamahang juhuyat, one and the same karma. Well, if you change the material of ahuti for offering, like dadhi means a curd. If you offer with the curd, well, you get a different type of result. Indriya kamaha. Well, so karma remains same. But if person does not want a original phalam, well, he wants some other benefit like increase in power of indriya kamaha. Means he wants suppose his eyes or ears are not all right. He is losing its power. Well, somebody advise him that this particular karma, which gives a different type of result. But if you just change a ahuti, material of ahuti for offering, if you change, well, you will get the power in indriyas, etc. So that kind of thing also is there. So because of a Shakha Bheda, karma becomes, or because of a Kama Bheda of a person, well, there are varieties of the karmas. So one and the same karma, because of goes to different Shakha, different recension of the Veda, becomes a Nitya karma, becomes a Sakama karma like Agnihotra, or because of a Kama Bheda, one and the same karma, by changing the material of offering, well, becomes a different, it remains Sakama karma only. Earlier also it was Sakama, but now it will fulfill your other desire by changing the material of ahuti. So, because of a Shakha Bheda or because of a Kama Bheda, there are varieties of karmas. And such teachings are given in Karma Kanda of the Veda. So, since we are habituated with that, we are oriented with that, well, we think Jnana Kanda also has got several types of teaching. Well, Dvaita Darshanam for some people and Advaita Darshanam for some people, Vishishta Advaita Darshanam for some people. Well, because you think it's just one Veda. Veda talks about different types of karmas. Veda talks about the same karma for a different type of adhikaris, same karma, differently. Well, then same Jnana Kanda also can give a different visions. Dvaita Darshan for some type of adhikaris, Advaita Darshan for some type of adhikaris, and Vishishta Advaita Darshanam for some other adhikaris. Why not? It should be there. And so, but that is not there. Anyway, truth is all shakhas in all the Vedas, and at a Jnana Kanda teaches one thing alone. Words are different. So one Veda says, one shakha of the Veda says, well, Tattvamasi. Other shakha will say, well, Aham Brahmasmi. Other shakha will say, I am Atma Brahma, etc., etc. Other shakha will say, Prajnanam Brahma. Right? And so, well, we select. Pujya Swamiji used to tell this, right? So people say there are only four Mahavakyas. There are no four Mahavakyas. Thousands and thousands of Mahavakyas are there. We for a sample, we say, because Prajnanam Brahma belongs to Rigveda, Aitreya Upanishad. Ayam Atma Brahma belongs to Atharva Veda, Mandukya Upanishad talks about. Aham Brahmasmi is talked about by Yajurveda, Shukla Yajurveda, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And what is that? Tattvamasi is talked in Samaveda, Chandogya Upanishad. So we just select one. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is a Mahavakya. People consider it as a Avantara Vakya. So Anantam Brahma, you say Anantam Brahma and still you take it Avantara Vakya. How it is possible? Brahman is Anantam. But I, the Jiva, is Jiva. Where is Anantam Brahma without Jiva? It cannot remain Anantam. It's so simple to understand. When you say Anantam, means it covers you. Where is the question of not covering you? And it is Jnanam again. So clear. Jnanam means which is conscious. So I am a conscious entity. And I am existent. See, for my existence and for being a conscious, I don't give anybody any reason. I am. And I am conscious. If somebody asks you because of what? If they ask you, what reason will you give? You can't give. I am conscious because I am conscious. And I am conscious means I am is already there. So, I am is already there. That's existence. And therefore, existence centered on I and the consciousness centered on I is just, it's a nature. When you cannot give a reason for a thing, when any human being cannot give a reason for that, well, ultimately that must be the Sarupa. That must be the Sarupa of that, nature of the thing. Nature of the thing which is Swabhavikam. That's how natural, not out because of something else. Well, we give a reason of, all the time fire is hot because fire is hot. What can you say about it? You cannot give any reason. Same way, I am a conscious entity. Well, I am a conscious entity and I am. So you cannot negate yourself. That's how you are existence. Existence, Satyam means what? Which is not available for negation. Not available for negation is existence. And not available, consciousness also is not available for negation. Everything you negate. But the negator remains all the time. Otherwise, how the negation takes place? Where is the negation? Negation of the time, space and all the objects in the deep sleep state. How can you talk about it? That's such a negation. How can you talk about it? Total absence. Unless you experience it. And when I say that there is nothing, you also know it. So the consciousness because of which you experience even this negation of time, space and everything, that consciousness cannot be negated. And therefore Satyam and Jnanam is so simple, and that is Anantam. Abba. So that I should not consider myself as a small entity. It's limitless. Anyway, this is just by the way. But so Tattvamasi and Aham Brahmasmi or Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Asavaditya Brahma and Brahmaiva Ahamasmi, etc. Even in a Sandhya Vandanam, such mantras are there. Whatever is there in this Aditya Mandalam is me alone. Well, so that Ishvara is, which is present in the Aditya Mandalam, is me alone, means Jiva and Ishvara, Veda is not there. So simple. So many sentences are there like that. Anyway, so for a sample purpose, we select 4. Words are different. things is only one. You are Brahman. That's it. Unlike karma. Well, Shakha changes, Nitya karma becomes Sakama karma. And even, karma remains same. If your desire changes, well, you change the ahuti, etc. Material. Well, you get a different result. So, Shakha Bheda, Kama Bheda, but, in Karma Kanda, all things will differ. But in the Jnana Kanda, well, whatever the branch you take of any Veda, in Jnana Kanda, in Upanishad, you get one message that Jiva is Brahman. And therefore, don't say that Dvaita Darshanam also in one for some adhikaris, like and Advaita Darshanam for some adhikaris and Vishishta Advaita Darshanam for some adhikaris. Such a Veda is not there in Jnana Kanda. And but here, Jnana Kanda, in Karma Kanda, ultimately we fulfill so many desires, right? Kama, through performing karmas. In Jnana Kanda, do they help us to perform? Do they help us to fulfill our desire? Yeah. And this is the only one kama. When you are exhausted with all other kamas and you have only one kama now of a moksha, well, then you come to Jnana Kanda. So, and then this Tattvamasi will work. That's okay. Moksha means Jnanam. People say Jnanam generates moksha. Moksha, if it is generated, it is not moksha. Anything which is generated is not moksha. It is karma phala. Jnanam cannot give moksha. Jnanam is moksha. How 10th man has become free? Moksha. How he gained moksha? Just by knowledge that I am 10th. That's it. No, the people have some kind of... So, Jnanam will generate moksha. Nothing will happen. When generation comes, well, then they will think that Jnanam they have and still moksha is away. That is where the problem is. Jnanam is moksha. I am free. That Jnanam, I am free. That Jnanam is freedom. That's it. Because I am really free. I am Brahman. Knowing that I am free is freedom. And therefore, that's how Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. Brahmavit, the knower of Brahman is Brahman. Or else Brahmavid apnoti param. Brahmavit, the knower of Brahman gains param, moksha, limitlessness. Anyway, so just knower gains moksha means what? The knowledge is moksha. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of the entity which is free by nature. Knowledge of an entity which is free by nature. Knowing that entity, that is of course the self, you are free. That's it. Never have that thing in mind that knowledge will generate. So first let me gain knowledge. Then moksha will come in the future. That's not moksha. That's not moksha. People are waiting for moksha. Waiting for moksha. People say that we are doing Shravan Manan Nidhyasanam, but moksha, well, then I say you are free. No, I am not free. They say I am not free. Moksha will come in the future. Well, that such thing is not there. Anyway, so because of Shakha and Kama, Vidyaranya says, Karma anyatha shrutam. Well, rituals are taught which are many and in varied ways. And after studying Karma Kanda, we develop a misconception. We feel that, evam, in this manner, ma atrapi. Atra means in Jnana Kanda also, well, definitely all the darshanas are there, different darshanas are there. Dvaita, Advaita, Vishishta, Advaita darshanas are there. And for a different adhikaris, Upanishad talks about Dvaitam also. For one type of adhikari, Upanishad talks about Vishishta Advaita. For some other adhikari, Upanishad talks about most mature people who will say, well, I am Paramatma. For a different type of adhikari. No. There is nothing like that. Unlike Karma Kanda. In Jnana Kanda, we don't have Ma Ashanki. Acharya says Ma Ashanki. This is a very typical prayoga. Shanka Dhatu is there to suspect. Don't have such kind of a doubt. So it's a lung and it's a karmani prayoga. Prathama Purusha Ekvachanam. Ma Ashanki. It's a special usage. Iti Ma Ashanki iti ataha. So to eliminate such doubt, ataha means therefore. Therefore means to eliminate such a doubt that like Karma Kanda in Jnana Kanda also, different types of darshanas have been given for a different type of adhikaris. If you have such a doubt, well, don't keep that doubt. To eliminate doubt, Shravanam Acharet. Shravanam Acharet. Well, study different Upanishads for that purpose, to remove these doubts. There is only one darshanam, that is Advaita darshan. That, that is the purport. That is the purport of what? All Upanishads. And so, but I have studied already 10. Okay, 36. Okay. And after 36, if still doubt is there that Upanishad talks about Dvaita also and Advaita etc., still, then 43. Why you give such a number? Any number which comes in my mind. I can go up to 101, right? 101 Upanishads are there. So 36 and 43 and 59, like that. You keep listening and listening and listening and listening and listening, till you arrive that all Upanishads as a one body, even though they belong to different Vedas, different Shakhas, let them be so. Their message is only one. Their purport is only one, and that is Advaita. All the Mahavakyas mean that Advaita. So anyway, this is then till then, you should continue Shravanam Acharet, continue Shravanam to remove those types of obstacles. Okay, verse number 101. वेदान्तानामशेषाणाम् आदिमध्यावसानतः ब्रह्मात्म्येव तात्पर्यम् इति दिश्रवणं भवेत्. So this this process which we saw is called Shravanam. And what type of a student does this Shravanam? Vedantanam Asheshanam. So he explains the Shravanam now a little more. Well, Vedantanam Asheshanam. Vedantanam means all Upanishads. Asheshanam means all, without any leftover. Shesha means a leftover. Ashesha, without any baki. Adi Madhya Avasanataha, in the beginning, middle and the end, has a central teaching, has a purport. Brahmatmani Aikyam, well, it has a central purport in Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam. This is Vyasacharya's attempt. We need not do, in fact. We should study Brahma Sutra for that. Because this looks a little difficult. How all Upanishads in the beginning, in the middle, in the end, talks about only one thing, and that is Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam. I don't find, even I can't translate mantra itself. There is a question of finding a tatparya of the mantra. And therefore, well, what should we do? You need not do. Acharya was knowing, Vyasacharya was knowing, and therefore, well, Vyasacharya has done this job for you. Where? In Brahma Sutra. Where? In the first Adhyaya, called Samanvaya Adhyaya. Samanvaya, the meaning of the Samanvaya is reconciliation. Reconciliation between what? Reconciliation between all Upanishads. That what one Upanishad talks about, the other Upanishad talks. What second Upanishad talks about is a subject matter of the third Upanishad. But then statements are different. Yudva Suparna Sayuja Sakhayo and this Antaryami Brahmanam, and what about that? That's a reconciliation. He has done. If we could do, why he did not have to do all this in a Brahma Sutra? And therefore, nothing to worry. He picks up those statements and made a sutra out of that. And in that sutra, he discussed that. And therefore, that's a Vishaya Vakya of any sutra. Vishaya Vakya of any sutra is a Upanishad's statement where all this doubt can arise. So he picked up those statements. Anyway, and not only that, Vyasacharya ji did. Later in Puranas also, that alone is a teaching. Yeah, in Uddhav Gita, in Bhagavatam, this is the teaching. Generally, Bhagavatam means people, think it is a Krishna Rasa Leela. And that kind of a thing has been inserted in our mind by Pauranikas. All Pauranikas carefully avoid Uddhav Gita. Carefully. They avoid this Uddhav Gita. That belongs to Ekadasha Skanda and Dashama Skanda. They just like Dashama Skanda because a beautiful Rasa Leela etc. is there. And therefore, they chose this Rasa Leela portion and they vehemently tell, this is Bhagavatam. After talking about just one skanda out of 12 skandas, one skanda, Dashama Skanda they take and they say, this is Bhagavatam, Rasa Leela. And well, if you dwell Some philosophers feel also that constantly dancing with Krishna, well, is moksha. So whenever you feel that you are dancing all the time, whenever you start doing dhyanam of a Krishna, and in your mind, well, you find there is a Ras Leela in which you are playing, dancing with Krishna, and you enjoy it. That's a moksha. That is sukham. Yeah, there is no sukham in Vishaya, etc. This is reveling with Krishna in a ras. Well, that is moksha. And they avoid this Uddhav Gita. Uddhav Gita purely talks about this Krishna is none other than myself. That's so they avoid it. So not just Vyasacharya has done reconciliation that there is Advaita Darshanam in the Veda, in all the branches, or in all the Vedas. Pauranikas also, in Puranas also later, Puranakaras have done this. But some Pauranikas, well, for sake of some other interest, well, they pick up Dashamaskanda and they dwell very elaborately in this Dvaita Leela, etc. Anyway, so iti dhihi, this conviction, well, which conviction? Advaita alone is a purport, is called Shravanam. So, the first Shravanam is for gaining aparoksha jnana, along with the Mananam. And later Shravanam is to remove these obstacles. That what could be the purport of the Upanishad? Because Ramanujacharya also talks about Vishishtadvaitam based on Upanishad. Madhvacharya talks about Dvaita Darshanam based on Upanishad, and Shankaracharya ji also talks about Advaita Darshanam based on Upanishad. Then what is the purport of the Upanishad? Well, such a doubt is there. Later Shravanam, well, will remove this doubt that there is only one purport. And how will you do that? But just by Shravan? No, Upakrama Upasamharo. We have done that several times. Upakrama Upasamharo Abhyaso Apurvata Phalam and Arthavadopapattisya Lingam Tatparya Nirnaya. If you want to do Tatparya Nirnaya, purport of the Upanishad, these 6 lingas are there, 6 indicators are there, 6 clues are there. Take help of them and do. But we can't do. Acharyas do it. You need not have to worry. You simply listen. That's all. So Upakrama, Upasamharo, etc. What is in the beginning and end, and what is in the middle, and all this. Then Acharya talks about and show you that Advaita alone is a Tatparya. I am not going again into that Upakrama, etc. because we discussed several times. Verse 102. Samanvayadhyaya etat suktam dhisvasthyakaribhihi tarkai sambhavanarthasya dvitiyadhyaya irita. Etat samanvaya adhyaye suktam sushtuktam. Very well said. Etat means this which we discussed. Samanvaya adhyaye, this Shravanam is, will ultimately give you this Tatparya Nirnaya about Upanishad. Internal contradiction will go away. That has been very well done in Samanvaya Adhyaya, the first Adhyaya of a Brahma Sutra. But Samanvaya itself means a reconciliation. Reconciliation of what? Reconciliation of contradictory statements is a wrong statement. Reconciliation of a seemingly contradictory statements. Statements are contradictory, it is my problem. Statements are seemingly contradictory. Yeah, seemingly contradictory. Because Dvasuparna is one type of statement, and Antaryami another type of statement, Tattvamasi third type of statement. So, well, basically, this is how it is. So, therefore, there is a seeming contradiction. Tattvamasi says you are Brahman. Dvasuparna says you and Brahman, Ishvara are different. So, there is a seeming contradiction. No, they are different. And they have a contradiction. Upanishad have a contradiction. Such a kind of allegation, never do that job. Never do. You have not understood it properly. One who doesn't understand, for him there is a contradiction. One who understands will say this is a seeming contradiction. That's all it is. That's all. Yeah. Seeming contradiction we have to accept, because if you just translate certain Vedic statements in the Upanishad, you find that they both talk about little different things. One talks about Jiva and Brahman is different. One talks about Jiva and Brahman is one alone, like Mahavakya. So, there is seeming contradiction. With understanding, the contradiction never remains. It remains seeming contradiction. Please understand that. So that is the job of Shravanam. Shravanam resolves your contradiction. You will be free from blaming the Upanishads. That your Upanishad is just a blabbering. Right? Upanishad is just a blabbering of some very, very crazy fellows. No, 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 don't think so. You are crazy not to understand that. Okay? And therefore, so Mundaka Upanishad statement, Dvasuprana, etc., or Antaryami Brahmana, I just take example, there may be thousands. Samanvaya Adhyaya is a very big Adhyaya. We study only 4 sutras and we feel we have studied Brahma Sutra. In fact, from fifth sutra and the 5th Adhikarana till the first Adhyaya ends. First Adhyaya, there are 4 Adhyayas. 555 sutras of a Brahma Sutra are divided into 4 Adhyayas. Out of that, I don't remember now number. How many sutras are there in first Adhyaya, but it's a very big chapter. And Vyasacharya ji has taken several statements from the different Upanishads which are seemingly contradictory. He has taken, made them as a Vishay Vakya of that sutra, of that Adhikarana, and resolve. If he finds that one sutra is not enough to resolve the contradiction, he will make 2-3 sutras in the same Adhikarana. Sometimes 11 sutras in one Adhikarana. There are 11 sutras to resolve doubt that this Upanishadic statement does not talk about a Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita. This talks about Advaita alone. So it's a fantastic thing. Brahma Sutra is a culmination of our Hindu philosophy. Believe me, it's a fantastic thing. Otherwise, it is not a cup of anybody's job, to resolve contradiction. Very difficult, very difficult. But it's a brilliance of a Vyasacharya ji and Bhashyakara. I don't know how Bhashyakara understood that this particular sutra talks about Vyasacharya's intention through this sutra. By making this sutra, Vyasacharya's intention is of particular Vedic statement, particular mantra of a particular Upanishad. I don't know how he found. It's an amazing thing. That shows Vyasakara also had a complete vision of entire Veda. Otherwise, it is impossible. We don't know that this particular statement talks about contradiction. And Vyasacharya has made a sutra. What is that? Ikshatehe na shabdam. Now, this is 5th sutra. Ikshatehe na shabdam. Ikshatyadhikaranam. What is this? Ikshatehe na shabdam. It talks about, it wants to resolve a certain contradiction, seeming contradiction in a particular Upanishad. But in which Upanishad? Vyasacharya is not told in brackets. This sutra I am making for this so and so Upanishad. No. Bhashyakara finds out that this sutra talks about, resolves a contradiction pertaining to a particular mantra in a particular Upanishad in a particular Veda. My God, how he found, I don't know. But this Samanvaya Adhyaya is just a fantastic thing. Just a fantastic thing. And it resolves this doubt for you. After Samanvaya Adhyaya study, you will not say that Upanishad has a seeming contradiction. Upanishad have a contradiction. One Upanishad talks about Dvaitam, other Upanishad talks about Advaitam, third Upanishad talks about Vishishtadvaitam. Your Upanishad is blabbering. These words will drop. Vyasacharya ji has done such a marvelous job. And being a Brahma Sutra is a Nyaya Grantha, understand? Logically also. Taking support of the statement and logically removing doubt. So your buddhi will be free from doubts also. Anyway, so etat samanvaya adhyaya suktams. Suktam means sushtu uktam. Very well said in the Samanvaya Adhyaya. And so your Shravanam is complete by Samanvaya Adhyaya of Brahma Sutra. Indirectly, it is said like that. And so even this also will go. Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Bhagwan talks about, but people make their eyes big and they say, Bhagwan talks about in 15th chapter. Bhagwan talks about that Jiva is my Amsha. See, so clear Vishishta Advaitam is there. So clear. How can you talk something else? Your Jiva is Brahman, Jiva is Brahman. Krishna is me, Krishna is me. Bhagavan says Jiva is a part of me. I and Jiva are not one. How can you talk? You people are going to hell. These Vedantins are going to hell, I think. So this is one thing. Anyway, then second type of exercise, arthasya asambhavana. Arthasya asambhavana means removal of prameya asambhavana. Second obstacle will go by dvitiya adhyaya. There's a mention dvitiya adhyaya. So dvitiya adhyaya, you have to take it that way because it's a seventh case that ekara has gone by this sandhi. It's been elided by sandhi rule. So avirodha adhyaya. So Advaita teaching, well, of Upanishad, well, and Dvaitam in the perception. There are, well, many systems. So many systems of a philosophy are based on pratyaksha. Many systems, like Sankhyas and Nyayikas, etc. They are heavily based on pratyaksha because that's the primary means of knowledge available to the human being. And pratyaksha nobody can negate. What you see, you cannot negate. Right? I am seeing something, well, I am negating. How can you negate it? Nobody can negate. Ultimately, anywhere in the world, pratyaksha is the basis. That's how witness is in the court itself. Witness is considered as a final. Somebody has witnessed some incident, well, his statement has been taken as a real. So ultimately, that's a mula pramana available to the human being. And that pratyaksha reveals Dvaitam. As I just told you, sound is not the form is not the touch is not the taste. So simple. And therefore, there is Dvaitam. So based on pratyaksha, there are philosophies developed. Sankhyas and Nayayikas and etc. And therefore, well, we have to fight against them to establish Advaitam. So Dvaita Darshanani are there. And we say, don't worry. We are not saying there is no Dvaitam. See, this itself will take away the air from them. So they are so vehement. Advaita, which is opposed to Dvaita, they feel that. Advaita means, well, they are a threat to us. We say we accommodate you. You come and sit with us and have a coffee. And then we'll explain you. In spite of Dvaitam, there is Advaitam. What will you do now? In spite of Dvaitam means we have accepted your Dvaitam. And still there is Advaitam. That's how it is. That's how it is. Pot is not a pan is not a jab. And so you say pot and pan are different. Analyze little further, you will find there is one entity there. The truth is one. Because of which pot is, because of which the pan is, because of which the jar is. So if you don't analyze properly and then you say pot and pan are different and they are different entities, in reality they are different. Don't say that. In spite of Dvaitam, there is Advaitam. So we accommodate everything. That's what Gaudapada Acharya ji says. We are not against anybody. Anybody. Whatever the view they have regarding Ishvara, regarding Jiva, regarding Jagat, we will accommodate them because Advaitam means a total darshanam, a total vision of everything. Everything is one entity. Whereas you people have you have a point of view. We have a view. You have a point of view. Advaitam alone can be the view. Other than that, based on Dvaitam, there will be a point of view because you have a limited vision. When you say Dvaitam, means definitely limited. So you have a limited vision. Advaitam means it's a complete vision. And therefore, when you say it's a one thing, we are already accommodating what is available as for experience, Dvaitam, through Pratyaksha. So we are not negating what is based on Pratyaksha. We are saying that is not final. What is available for experience is, that is Vyavarika Satyam, well, available for experience. But that's not the reality. That's what we are telling you. And further analysis that we are giving you, that's what Veda talks about. That's what the Upanishad talks about. That one thing alone. That's how Srushti Vakya. That one thing alone appears everything. That's how Srushti Vakyas are there in all Upanishads. So Srushti Vakyas definitely reveal that what Dvaitam is available for experience, but is mithya. When from one clay everything comes out, when I talk about a Srushti from one piece of clay, well, then definitely I want to convey the truth is clay alone. For that purpose we talk about Srushti. Srushti is not talked about to establish Dvaitam. Srushti is talked about to establish Dvaitam is mithya. What is created is just one thing alone. And essentially, what is created? Yeah. But we will tell you it is from clay. We'll tell you. You may not understand it, but we'll tell you. So from clay pot is created and jar is created and that is created and this is created and elephant is created. Whatever you want to create and you want to utilize also differently. Yeah, you should utilize differently. Form comes for the utilization, not the clay. One cannot use the clay for drinking, filling up the water. You have to use the form. But form I utilize and therefore form is real. That's your misunderstanding. That's your misunderstanding. Yeah, it's a misunderstanding. You take form as a final thing because what is available for use, that should be the real. What is available for use is mithya. Okay, that is what it is. It may be your ring or it may be your achoda. What is that? What do you call it? Chain? Whatever your rings, earrings, whatever forms, utilize as you like. But it is ultimately one goal. Remember that. So this is an orientation of a person who is born on this earth. This everything is available for usage. And this Vedantin talks about mithya. They think mithya means there is, it is shunyam. We don't say shunyam. It will be available for experience throughout. After understanding it is mithya. That is what it is. Advaitam is never available for experience. Advaitam is a swarupa of experiencer. Advaitam is not available for experience. What is available for experience is Dvaitam, which is mithya. And it will be available like that throughout. Even after studying well physics, one understands that, this sunrise is mithya. But it doesn't mean next morning he won't see sunrise. He will see sunrise. He will experience sunrise. He will experience sunset. But he understands it is mithya. That's what it is. So this is our science, meta science. So our meta science talks about, see, this is what a big thing it is. They feel threat. They say never come in contact with these Advaitins. Your Manushya Janma will be useless. Never come in contact. Remain away from them. At the best, give them prasadam, some laddu, etc. Give. And let him make happy. But never open this topic regarding Ishvara, etc. with them. They are going to hell. We want to save ourselves from this going to hell. So keep them away. They don't understand. We talk about the vision, which is whole. Covers everything. Nothing is left. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.